Two gunned down minutes apart in Greenwich Farm. Hours after the passage of Hurricane Beryl and the discontinuation of an island-wide curfew on Thursday morning, two men were shot dead in Greenwich Farm, Kingston. The deceased have so far only been identified by their aliases, Benji and Boozy. Reporters understand that both men were gunned down mere minutes apart at around 10:30 a.m. Benji reportedly met his demise in the intersection of 5th Street and 1st Avenue in the community. He was killed by unknown assailants. It is understood that less than an hour later, about 50 meters away from the scene, Boise was also murdered. Police said it was not immediately clear whether the two incidents were related. There is reportedly an ongoing feud between rival gangs in the community. PM visited St. Elizabeth communities ravaged by Hurricane Beryl. Prime Minister Andrew Holness in St. Elizabeth touring section of the parish, which has been badly hit by Hurricane Beryl. Holness is accompanied by a Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth Southwest Floyd Green, who is also the country's Agriculture Minister. According to Information Minister Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, the Prime Minister was advised of the extent of the setback faced by residents of the parish and moved to visit as soon as possible. Prime Minister Holness was briefed on the situation in sections of the parish. Scores of roofs were destroyed and major investment in crops lost. Families have also been displaced. Prime Minister Holness understands that this was a devastating event for some families, wanting to see the damage firsthand and reassure residents of the government's support as soon as possible, she stated. The Information Minister says Holness and his administration will be examining assistance that may be brought to affected people as quickly as possible. Scores of roofs were blown off and crops devastated in the parish on Wednesday, which is known to be a driving force for the island's crucial agricultural sector. Reports reaching reporters are that the Flagaman, Great Bay, Treasure Beach, Boltos, Newell, Newcomb Village, and Barbary Hall are all among the areas worst affected in the parish. Houses and crops were also destroyed in Mountainside, Parity, Vineyard, Arlington, Black River, Galleon, Stewberry, Middle Quarters, and Holland Bumbo. Prior to heading into St. Elizabeth, the Prime Minister also observed damage caused by Beryl in sections of Clarendon. Minister Morris Dixon says it is expected that the Prime Minister will tour several areas affected by Beryl.
I was literally counting in Great Bay and the general Treasure Beach area about 100 homes that suffered roof damage. And then being on the ground, you get to see another dimension of the damage, which would be the fallen poles, trees, and some roads that are blocked. Now, for the residents who live in these areas, who are inconvenienced and displaced and dislocated, this is serious, and the government will act in a speedy way to assist the recovery process. Having this aerial and ground tour would have given me a better perspective as to the kind of response we need to create and the speed of the response. What was an economic enterprise, a bar, a community shop, and that was destroyed. And we have seen a few of those. Just down the road, we saw a few homes where the roofs were lifted, poles fallen. So the government's response, obviously, is to get electricity and utilities back on board, and we're working with the utility companies. The next level of service would be to help people who have been displaced. They can't live in their homes. Their circumstances are very uncomfortable. To help them to get back on their feet. And so we'll craft our emergency response in that regard. We took off from Uppark Camp, which gave us an opportunity to see Kingston Harbour and possibly see a little bit into the Bull Bay area. And what we saw was some amount of impact from storm surges. And you can see that by some amount of flooding on the coastal areas, but not flooding to the point of significant damage. So Kingston was largely spared. But from a national level, I think Jamaica was spared the worst. We were hit by a Category 4 hurricane, but I'm no expert on these matters, but it would appear to me that the damage would be less than what we expected from a Category 4 hurricane. So I think we were spared. I think all Jamaicans should be giving a collective thank you and saying even more prayers of gratitude.
Wall collapses, killing 8-year-old man in Manchester. An elderly resident of Backup Resort in southern Manchester died on Thursday morning after one of the walls of his house collapsed on him. Reports are that 80-year-old man went outside to inspect his house in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl when the incident occurred. He was taken to the Mandeville Regional Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Senior Superintendent of Police Stephanie Lindsay, head of the Jamaica Constabulary Force's Corporate Communications Unit, told reporters that the police are treating his passing as a case of death by misadventure. One person has been confirmed dead locally as a result of the Category 4 hurricane that lashes the country on Wednesday. A 26-year-old woman from Hanover was killed on Wednesday evening after a tree limb fell on her during the hurricane. Meanwhile, relatives are awaiting confirmation on whether the body of the man that was washed away in Port Henderson Beach in St. Catherine on Thursday is that of 20-year-old Alric Moncrief. It could have been worse, Spurtree Hill resident grateful amid Hurricane Beryl's devastation. In the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, widespread devastation across St. Elizabeth, one resident of Spurtree Hill expressed gratitude for surviving the monstrous Category 4 storm. Despite significant damage to his home, including roof damage and fallen trees, Randy Deer reflected, "As you can see, the damage is pretty extensive. Around 5 o'clock, everything blew down, and there was damage to my roof and light poles. We have seen the worst of it, but thanks to God, it could have been worse." Deer said he is now hoping that the relevant authorities will get to the residents as quickly as possible to assist in cleaning up efforts as the parish looks to move on in the aftermath of the storm. Heavy rains and strong winds caused widespread damage across the area, making many roads impassable due to falling trees and leaving numerous homes without roofs. Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth Ferd Green said Hurricane Beryl, a Category 4 storm, left many residents in the parish completely devastated.
Crews from the NAA island-wide have been going around and cleaning and clearing. We have managed to reopen several corridors around the country. We still have some, though, where works are in progress. Number of corridors are being impacted by downed JPSCO poles and wires. And so in those circumstances, we have to work closely with the JPSCO in having those impediments removed. One crucial corridor that we're actually working on now with a view to regaining access is the Bogwalk Gorge. It is not yet ready to be reopened. We hope that we'll be able to do so later today, latest tomorrow morning, so that we can get persons moving through that space once more.
Children staff accounted for and safe, CPFSA says. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency says that all the children and staff of its 50 government and private residential care child facilities and places of safety are safe and secure following the passing of Hurricane Beryl on Wednesday. In a statement on Thursday, Chief Executive Officer of the CPFSA, Lorette Adams-Thomas, says, "Our management and team, as well as members of our Disaster Management Committee, met at our Emergency Operations Center, where we monitored all the childcare facilities across the island throughout the storm. We're happy to report that all the children under our care and the dedicated staff who weathered the storm with them are all accounted for and are safe. The vast majority of our childcare facilities are also okay and are only in need of minor repairs. We have had one facility in the Southern Regional which did some damage to the roof and the kitchen, dining room, and to one of the dorms. The children were relocated safely to other dorms at the facility, and we are now seeking to secure mattresses to replace those that got wet in the dormitory," she continued. "A damage assessment is currently being undertaken, and we are making plans to have repairs effectively done as soon as possible," she stated. She also noted that CPFSA parish offices were also okay, with only minor damage at some of the locations being noted so far. However, the CEO noted that the loss of electricity affecting various areas of the island was also impacting some children's facility and CPFSA parish offices. "Some of our childcare facilities are currently without electricity, but they are utilizing other opportunities ways of coping until power is restored. Some of our parish offices are also without electricity, which may impact our level of efficiency in executing other services we provide, but we should be back at full efficiency once the power is restored," she further stated. She also shared that 24/7 child abuse reporting hotline 211 was also experiencing imminent difficulty and encouraged persons wanting to make child abuse report to contact CPFSA using two other phone numbers, 876-878-2882 and 876-822-7031. Child abuse report can also be made via email at reports@childprotection.gov.jm or through the CPFSA social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, at CPFSAJM. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.